Welcome to another episode of UC RD Reviews. So today we have the RGM-79G GM Sniper version anime. This mobile suit's from 8th MS team, and it's a P Bandai, and it has a very, very large box. And we'll go over why it has such an unusually large box here in a little bit. But here's all the side pictures here. This is a variant of the ground GM that we saw in 8th MS team. This one's finely tuned for sniping. So it utilizes a long-range beam sniper rifle that is very powerful and can be fired in a couple different ways. It can charge the rifle and get a couple shots off, or it can hook up to an external coolant and generator and have more sustained fire. One thing we don't have in this set, unfortunately, is a secondary backpack that the GM Sniper can use to power that beam sniper rifle. That was not seen in 8th MS team, but is present in video games and things like that. So we don't have that, unfortunately. But we do have quite a bit in this set, and it's been a while since we've seen it. The MSiA that was released in North America and Asia was from a long, long time ago, and we haven't really seen the GM Sniper since. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So here we have the GM Sniper. This time around the backpack comes attached out of the box. So this one is identical to the GM ground figure, aside from one thing, and I won't reveal it now. We'll look at it when we do the comparison. But there is one change to this figure that is different from the GM ground. But otherwise, in terms of articulation and everything, it is identical. So if you want to check out the articulation features, look at the GM ground review that is linked down below. But you can see that it's all in this green olive drab color all the way through with some gray accents. You have some decals, some white decals on the legs and the chest, and that's pretty much it. Head sculpt is nice. Everything works well. The arm's a little loose. That's probably just mine. But other than that, it's a pretty solid figure. Effect part compatible on the thrusters here. Move around a little bit. And these panels pop off that are on the back here. And we'll go into why that's necessary in a little bit when we check out all the accessories. Of course, I can't get this thing back on. There we go. So, really neat looking, but the important stuff is what this comes with. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alright, so let's get into why this box is so big. Firstly, we're going to look at all of the boring stuff. We have the hand rack, gun hands, beam saber hands, two different sets of opposing hands. Pretty basic stuff. We have two beam sabers, which can be stored in the recharge racks in the legs. These are the same beam sabers we've seen with all the other 8th MS team releases. You have two blades, which are your standard blades, which look good. 8th MS team stuff has really good effects. We have the shield. This is the 03 shield. It is compatible with the armor piece, although it wouldn't quite look right. And of course, it swivels around and you can extend the shield just like normal. Basic shield. We have the 100mm machine gun, which again we've seen with all the other 8th MS team releases. Has the wire stock, the handle that folds out, and the removable magazine, and the two magazines on the sides of the hips are compatible. And we also have the little storage rack for the machine gun, same one that we got with the ground Gundam. If you want to see how this works, check out that review. Now, in terms of weaponry, here's the new thing, the long-range beam sniper rifle. Front handle will swivel a really good amount in both directions. We have it in a different shade of olive drab with gray for the buttstock and the barrel shroud, and it is effect part compatible, just like the machine gun is. The camera is red, which looks really nice, and I'm hoping we get a White Dingo's GM Sniper 2, because now we have this and the GM Sniper 2 mold, so that would be really cool. But today we're talking about the GM Sniper. So very neat looking sniper rifle. I really like this. And now we're going to check out this big box here. So this is the stand piece that it comes with, and it's this big massive panel lined block here. This is supposed to be the top of a big tray, I believe, that was in 8th MS team, and it has a couple different components to it. There's this little antenna piece that you attach in there, and then this piece does that. No, it let me put that back on there. So I guess that can be removed, but this whole thing actually can be removed. And this is where the cables plug in. So you have 4 of these bendy cables. We'll look at one set. I guess it's 2 and 2 because they connect here. And this is what connects to the backpack of the GM Sniper. So let me get this thing assembled real quick, and we'll take a look at it all posed up here. Okay, so here's everything together, and basically all you have to do is plug these pieces in here, and this little contraption hides it, and then you have these cables which plug onto the GM Sniper's backpack. You also have a panel here for a stand piece that you can hook into it, and then you can store this panel down here so that you don't lose it. If I know my shapes, I'm trying to put it in the wrong way. So you can have a stand sticking up here, so you can have it look like GM Sniper is flying or doing something crazy. But it's a really nice looking stand. I like when they do stuff like this. I mean, this thing just looks super cool. So we'll look at it with the GM Sniper on it in a little bit. We're going to go back to the container here, and we're going to look at the effect parts. So we do get the beam saber slashing effect, and we get the firing effect, or gigantic beam saber effect, whatever you want it to be. There we go, which we saw this with Easy 8 in my last review. But then we get these 2 new pieces, and these are just like exhaust pieces for when he was firing the beam rifle, and they just sit and look really cool. So we'll have all this on there as well. So let's take a look at the GM Ground compared to this one. So here we have the GM Sniper with the GM Ground, and you can pretty easily see they're identical, aside from one thing, and that is the head. If you look at the visor of the GM Sniper, there's actually detail behind the visor there. But if you look at the visor of the GM Ground, it's just the inner workings of the head of the figure. So this visor looks way better. And that's actually the only difference. Aside from that, they're essentially the same figure. I don't have the little pieces in the back there, but you get the idea. And they're both really great figures. I like the GM Ground type, and by default I like the GM Sniper. And the GM Sniper comes with a lot of cool stuff. So speaking of cool stuff, let's take a look at it on its stand. So this GM Sniper cost me $68.78, which isn't bad for a P-Bandai that comes with this big massive modular stand. As you can see, it looks fantastic. All the components work really, really well. The cables are flexible enough that they'll go where you need it to go to pose the figure, but at the same time they'll stay put. These effects look really, really nice. And I mean, it's just a really nice set overall. They did really good with it. They didn't need to release this base. This could have easily just been a GM Ground repaint with the rifle, but they went definitely above and beyond here to do all of this, and that's what I like to see. It does make the set a little bit more expensive, but it's something that's well worth it. It's not a useless accessory, right? So I really like it. It's a solid figure. My only complaint with mine is that loose left arm, but I think that's just on my figure. I don't think that's something that is present on all the different figures. And I mean, they got the colors right. They even improved the head, which I like. So it's a win-win here. If you can find it for a decent price, absolutely pick it up. Let me know in the comments if you got this one. Thanks for watching the review. I appreciate it. Thank you all for the support. And I will be back with I think the next one's going to be the mass production new Gundam, which will be really interesting to see. So stay tuned next week for that one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.